As Brent stated, we had the department managers prepare their budget, and they turned it in, and when the first go-around they turned in, we had $206,500 of overage expenses over revenues. So we sat down with the manager, Brent and I sat down, and we decided what we needed to do, and we had the managers move forward with a reduction of their proposal of 0.7%. Just to kind of tell you what's in the current budget, wages were increased 1% for non-bargaining and 2% for unions. The unions already had the contracts negotiated, so we had to put those in at 2%, but non-bargaining, we decided to put them in at 1%.
Well, Brent, if you got all the answers in, why don't you just tell us what we need to do? Because if I'm gonna have all these questions, and you've got the answer to everything, then lay it out for us right now. Let's not do this.
I've laid it out for you. I don't know what.
Well, it's not working. I just asked him, is it potential? This 206,000, you pared down to nothing. We're gonna come back with 7, 8 different departments or groups for a budget amendments.
Councilman Weaver, the answer is if you want a general fund balanced, this is the way you do it. If you want to utilize reserves, then you utilize reserves. If you want these things
Well,
back in.
who directed you to do a general fund to be balanced? I've never directed you to do that. I've always been.
That is the instructions that.
You didn't receive those instructions from this councilman
That
at
is,
all.
my responsibility is to provide you a budget that's balanced. This is a budget that's balanced.
Brent.
If you decide that you want to spend reserves, that's your responsibility.
I'm gonna read this to you, Brent, from September 21st of 10, what you're saying here. There was a motion made by Councilman Hickey and seconded by Solberg to amend the fund balance policy that general fund reserves will not be used to pay for general fund operating expenses. That failed on a 3-3 vote. So if you're telling me you got a
Do you
direction.
have a problem with your city?
No, if you're telling me,
providing a
I'm
budget
telling you,
that's balanced?
I'm giving you
All right,
this,
all
what
right.
we did, and I'm talking facts, Brent. It was a 3-3 vote, not to worry about taking out of reserves. Now you're telling me you've received direction to take out of reserves, and I'm telling you I didn't give it to you.
It was my decision to provide.
Well, it was your decision, right? You weren't directed.
Stop. Councilman, stand down. That's enough.
Well, I'm not lying, buddy.
No, you have 5 other elected officials here, and you have a city administrator and a director.
Maybe they don't want to dwell where I go.
Councilman, that's enough. We can have a respectful discussion in this
We
chamber.
took action in September 21st. That contradicts what he's saying.
Mr. Nelson?
Well,
Hold on, actually, before I do that.
go ahead.
Mr. Trout, do you want to respond? I mean, there's a lot going on there.
No, I just look at it, the situation, the city administrator's responsibility is to provide you a balanced budget, and that's what I did. If you don't like where I've made the cuts, that is your job to figure out what you want to put back. It's my job to provide you a balanced budget, and that's what I did. Now, is it gonna cost pennies to these department heads to balance the budget and provide services? Yes. You've heard it from the library director. You've heard it, we're cutting a little bit in demolitions. There's a lot of things that are cut. I have the revenues that I have to work with, and that's where I go. And
How
then
do
you,
we sit on our budget for this current year?
I just sent the unaudited out, and I think we're around 3% under budget at this point in time. So, don't quote me on the number,
it's
but
about 3.5% under.
There's nothing lean about hiring lean. That's 9,000 I'm not gonna support at all. We should be doing that anyway. Everybody should be doing that. Everybody doing it in the Weaver household, you should be doing it here. I don't need to bring, it's a catchy thing now. Lean's cool. The last 2 years is lean. iOS 2000 was the big tag here a few years ago. It's always a trend. And now it's trendy to get, and by the way, the resolution that was spoke of to do lean in February, whatever it was the same resolution read by Chet Culver. So it's just all trendy, you know. We can take care of our own house. Nobody's opposed to lean. I'm not. Let's do it. We supported it as a council. We directed you to do it. I just don't think we need to hire a consultant to come in here to do it. We pay you $144,000. The 2 people you tag, we pay him $116, and I don't know what we pay Kevin, $90 or whatever it is. That's a lot of money right there. Go do it, because when you got to sit down with a consultant, then you got to have everybody meet up here in this room, 20, 30 employees, and you're going to be paying a lot of overtime too, or comp or whatever, just to have them come to the programs. You know what? We can get the message out through some emails or however you want to do it, that we got to make some cuts and get lean. I don't think we need to bring anybody in here, another consultant for lean. I'll save the hiring the consultants for when we have infrastructure problems or lawsuits.
You know, the 2 things that we're talking about now, lean and the $15,000 for the micro business enterprises are the two items that we've talked about tonight that have a potential for return on the investment. Every other item that we talk about in the operating budget is an expense. We spend the money, we either spend it on buying stuff, or we spend it on wages, and it's gone, it's spent, it's gone, and there's no tangible return on that, whereas these two items have the highest probability of having a tangible return, and so from my perspective, they're more of an investment than they are an expense. You know, for $9,000, the presumption is that this consultant will help us identify areas where maybe we don't have the in-house expertise to return us more than what we've invested in hiring that consultant. And for $9,000, I guess I'm willing to take that risk in year one. And if we're sitting here a year from now and we haven't realized a $9,000 reduction in expenses through establishing lean principles, then it was a bad idea. I think traditionally, with what we've learned about lean, it has a high probability of having a significant return on that investment. And when you couch it in terms of what Fort Dodge and other communities our sizes are expending on lean consultants, $9,000 is a pretty minimal investment. And as far as the micro enterprise thing, you know, we said as a council at our goal setting session in December that jobs is their #1 priority. And for crying out loud, Jamie did a wonderful presentation on Monday, and for a minimal investment, we have an opportunity to impact a lot of businesses in North Iowa and to create jobs. And again, it may not work, but we're putting $15,000 at risk, and there's a significant probability that that will return itself in spades to us. And we can talk about the $150,000 and the fact that we do have to have some money set aside that we have access to. But there's only one way that money gets spent, and if we've got an application that meets the criteria, which means we're going to have a return on that investment.